Okay, recording in progress. This day, uh, what makes us Tentakon is the day of April 17th. And April 17th is represent something to all humankind. It is the last chance for human beings to keep their pledge made by their father Adam, being Tentakon. And Allah, by that April 17th, reminds people about their duty and their promise. And the parable of that day is like a recipient in which Allah put the salvation of all human beings, so as they want to be disbelievers after receiving Allah's blessings that began by their existence. That day is an opportunity for humanity to rectify the mistakes of previous time made by people through generation and generation before. On that day of April 17, the Prophet Muhammad, who perfected the entire mission of his ancestors, received the good news. Remember when Allah said to him that he forgives him his past, present, and future sins and gratify him with his blessing. The Prophet stayed hours and hours praying until he had swollen feet. And our mother Aisha came to him and said, didn't you hear what your Lord said? He forgives you all your sins. And the Prophet replied, Afala akuna abdan shakura. Why shouldn't be a grateful servant? What does it mean? It means even if you get Allah's satisfaction or his eternal forgiveness, you have to be and remain thankful. Because all acts of worship are under the station of giving thanks. And the Prophet knew that the only way to please Allah is to thank him with the most powerful ibadah of his time. I mean praise. Waiting for the coming of the true Abd Shakur. So the recipient of the April 17 was used as the accomplishment of the hope of the Prophet. So April 17 is also the day when Saint Tuba got what he always expected. It was that day he saw his prayers accepted, because the reason of this of his exile, the reason of his war as a servant of Muhammad, and the reason why he wrote all his society was to be the Chantakon, as he said, Li jada fil bahri bi khayri birri wa rumtu minhu shukuruhu fil barri. Allah has given me all good things in my way through the ocean, but it remains for me the act of giving thanks once returning back to the land. And he got it in 1946 when Sri Salu met Sri Bet in Tasset. April 17 was the day that Sri Salu, whom we should thank, met the one who will bring humanity to be aware of what is really giving thanks. The one who will bring light in an everlasting way to the enigma of the chant. On that day, Sri Salu met the chosen one, the true Abd Shakur, I mentioned later, who will restore Allah's mercy and his satisfaction after years and years and years of sinful generation. The one who will accomplish the Prophet's desire to being grateful servant, and the one who has within him the entire reality of Saint Tuba, the grateful servant. And this one is Saint Beto, the recipient of all realities and the recipient of the Nur Salihah, the light of Saint Salibaki. And it is this light which was made in two beings that seem to be different. One set up as the servant and the other as the Lord. But the reality is not different. And the truth is in servant is the Lord, and in the Lord is the servant. Because the servant who seems to be different to the Lord is in truth totally extinguished in the Lord. And there was never two realities but one. Because Yaiman, my yo, you are me and I am you. And we have to know that between Sri Salu and Sri Beto, the act of giving thanks is done in both directions. The servant gives thanks to the Lord, just as the Lord to the servant, because there is love that binds them together, as Risalu said. And we all know that who say love say reciprocity. And the one who gives thanks to the other, give thanks to himself. At the same time, because the reality is unique. That is why Surin Betty said one day in Janatu Mahwa, ku xam ne yàlla la defal ba nga xam ne war nga koo sant boo ko santee sa bopp nga sant. The one who realized that Allah has bestowed upon him all his blessings and decided to give thanks to him. If he does so, he thanks himself too. And Ibn Arabi said in the formula, Alhamdulillah, God is both the prayer and the praise. So what happened in Tasset was not by chance between an old man and a child, but it represents the eternal and his manifestation through a child to rejuvenate this deen for the salvation of all humankind. And it was only one reality that can be servant and Lord at the same time. And through his servitude, he showed the way and how to thank Allah. And through his lordship, he showed that he can do something that makes voiceless those who want to extinguish the light of God with their mouth. يريدون أن يطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم ويأبى الله إلى أن يتم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. They try to extinguish the light of God with their mouth, but Allah wants to perform his light. So that makes in this lordship he established the most loved community in the sight of God. And so in his lordship, he realized something that no one else did till now, to give women the identical status and reveal them as the container of the entire secret through the settlement of Sona Aida Salih as his spiritual head and his deepest reality. So through Sona Aida and its two doors, Serimbeto wanted to dissect this enigma that woman has always been, but for those who ignore her to bury her alive, and for those who adore her without knowing the reason. The truth is, the woman has always been beyond all human comprehension, because God has decided so. And two functions can explain the peculiarity that is the woman. The woman is the source of comfort and tranquility for a man. Whoever you are, you always need a woman to live in peace. Even the world life need a feminine to be stable. This is why the Emir Abdel Kader said, a place which is not imbued with femininity is unreliable. To say that without woman, a disorder, chaos would reign in the world. But the primordial function of the woman is to give birth. And who say birthday is something that comes out of something as a symbol of the creation which comes from God, the one who created everything from him. And the one who must represent this creative function is the woman, who encompasses the human being who support him, who takes care of him, and who bring him to life when the time comes. It is in this sense that we must understand the word of Ibn Arabi, which is say that the woman is co-created of God, because she occupies the same function of bringing into existence. What we are going through is a return to our primordial essence, which manifests itself through this mother function of the divine, through Sahna Aida. Because through her, we see this mother who bore her children, bearing all the hardship of the world to see them arrive. I mean the way she has to manage and endure everything to maintain the chance, which is our salvation, we chant on. In Sahna Aida, we see the mother who waters her children with his luminous winning, which never dries up. And in her, we see our return to our origin through this function of Divine Mother that she perfectly represents. It is no coincidence that among the 99 names of God emerge Ar-Rahman and Rahim, the entirely merciful, the specially merciful. They have developed the etymology of Rahma, mercy or gift, but also refer to the wombs, the maternal wombs, Rahim or Rahm. The Prophet said, God is Ar-Rahman and the mother is Ar-Rahim. Her name comes from his name to him. The deep saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, a deep saying that we have the chance to understand today. And I remember one day, Sona Aida Salih told me, mbirum yalla mi jigéen la mësa doon. The power and the reality of God has always been held by a woman. If people who have not reached the level of knowledge that befits this word, they will can say this is a completely fermented word to give an alibi for following Sona Aida. But let them know that we do not speak under the effect of passion, not at all. And we will enlighten you. The woman has always been the symbol of divine manifestation, both temporally and spiritually. And the actual example is that of the Prophet, who was during his life surrounded by brave women, and they were pillars of the success of his mission. Let us remember that his mother was called Amina, which means the trustworthy. He was briefed by Alimatu Sahl. Asah means success or salvation. The second wife who briefed the Prophet Muhammad is called Su'aiba, which means rewards. All these women are the ones who supervised the Prophet during his childhood, and he's explained everything. So today, if we see a community who follow a woman, the deniers, the unbelievers, and the enemies, or Satan and his allies, always make some critics, always deny our community because we follow a woman. Surin Tuba said in Silkul Jawahir fi Akhbari Sarair, he reported an authentic narration by Ibn Mas'ud. Surin Tuba said, God created the paradise of eternity, Jannat Adnin. And after that, he called Gabriel and told him to go immediately to this paradise and contemplate what I have prepared for my servants who are allies. Gabriel executed the command of God and arrived at this paradise. He began to marvel, and it is certain to who report this at this. He said, "Fatafa fi tilkal jannati." He said, Gabriel is surrounding. Gabriel visiting this paradise and began to marvel at this beauty. فَأَشْرَفَتْ عَلَيْهِ. And so to said, until it appeared to him, جَارِيَةً مِنْ خُورِ الْحِينِ. Appeared to him one of the women of paradise. It is written to Hussein. He said, the latter, the woman, smiled at Jibril. And by the smile, all the heavens were illuminated. And Gabriel, at the sight of this woman, fainted and bowed down because he firmly believed that this light can only be from God, not from creators. And he made sujood. And so into said, fasajada. fasajada. Before saying fasajada, he said faqara Jibril sajidan fazanna annahu min nuri rabbihi aziz. Jibril make sujood to this woman because he believed that it is the light of God. He believed that it is God who was talking to him. Oh, it was not God. It is a creator, and it was a female. And Jibril bowed down for this female. And he said, the woman said to Jibril, raise your head. He raised his head and said, I exalt the holiness of the one who created you. And what is the teaching here? To better understand it, you have to focus on who Gabriel is. And for that, two things are enough. The first is, he is in charge of the revelation. Al-Amin al-Wahy. It would have been enough for him to have descended 12 times on Adam, 10 times on Jesus, 50 times on Noah, and 4 times on Enoch, and 12,000 times on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is Gabriel. That would have been enough. But let us recall the Quran, which is an contestable word of God. It is even said in the Quran that this is the truth, but also that is Gabriel who taught it to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allamahu shadidul quwa, zu mirratin fastawa. God said in the Quran, Gabriel taught the Quran to the Prophet. So if Gabriel, who is the celestial creator, made of light and charged with the revelation, prostrate himself before a woman of paradise, so how we unstable and imperfect being cannot do so? It does not make sense. It is normal for us to follow the woman, but the right woman, because it is the manifestation of Allah's power on his earth. And we have the chance to meet Sahra Aida Salim by the blessed Sering Bet. So when we bow down or follow Sahra Aida, we truly follow and bow down to the reality before Adam, within and next to him. That is the true reality. So we have to focus on the legal. We have to focus on the war. We have to focus on all participation that we have to give to realize what we have to do. So in closing, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear today in our times is the loss of our talibity, our discipleship. People of the world need to invent, and they need to get a way of peace and walk on it. And America is part of the world, with a great part of this world, and a great part of this decree. So we call Americans of all religions and of all colors, from every community and its components, to join us and share with us this blessing any of us needs and cannot be cut off from. It is time for us to realize the urgency to stand up and face anything that could delay or decelerate or discredit the work of the chant across the world. Our beloved Surin Beto has spent a lifetime to establish and impose what's constituted, with no doubt, a mercy for all mankind. It is up to us now to hold the light high. So a manifested desire to be able to be vectors of transmission for this mercy, to be people endowed with kindness, openness, generosity towards everyone living on this earth with no heart. We are no longer in a time of discrepancy. We are no longer in a time of I am better than you. And we are not longer in a chronism of fake companionship or a certain feeling of affiliation, which have always been and which continue to be the main factors of any incomprehension that eradicate peace between people. And we say incomprehension, say spurn of others. And where there is rejection and discord, hatred, and unhappiness settle down to give birth not to a world of harmony, but rather barbarism, which is in reality the root of all problems in this world. Let us avoid falling into this trap that Satan and his allies hold out for us. Let us be and remain open, because we have something greater than us and greater than the world itself. Therefore, let us stay together and work as a unit. May each of us see himself in the other. Let us cultivate peace and love between us, because this is what will allow us to remain united without division. Because if there is division, others will take the opportunity to weaken us, as we are used to seeing in Senegal and there in the United States. Most of the so-called renowned marabout or sheikh or so-called sheikh always camp near Serigne Béthio's space to squat and see who among us will come out of the rank so as they take advantage of him. Many people today have been granted certain status in Muridism and Islam while they were disciples of the sheikh or associate with disciple of the sheikh. That's it. We must be all the time in knowledge, but also in respect and mercy between us. Because if, however, some feel ignored or oppressed, 99% verbally, they can leave the board and once outside, Satan recover them to establish, to beautify, and beautify them the wrong way on this earth so that they believe it to be true. Facts are there, facts are here. But it's the most serious. They will not only limit themselves to leaving the board, but there will be means and loudspeakers to destabilize and divide the Chantakan community. It is their desire. So let's be mindful and work with insight and honesty. We have a lot of work to do, and the time is not waiting for us. There is a Chinese quote that says, men say time goes by, time say men go. And what is undeniable is we will sooner or later move to the other side. And beware of the one among us who has not marked his time by walking until his last breath for the everlasting of Serigne Béthio's heritage. Few of us have this willpower, but most of us are just enough to contribute money, eat, dress, like royally, and nothing else. And so I said that this attitude and this state of mind must be eradicated, must be erased. So the choice remain and still remain ours. Either we are sufficient to have the chance to meet Serigne Béthio, or we set ourselves up as lack for the rest of humanity. The choice is ours. The road is certainly long, but fortunately we have sufficient provision to face it, because we supply ourselves directly on the one whose reserve never run out. And I mean by that Serigne Béthio. So I exhort all my Mbok Talibi to join our power, to join our hands and work together in the sake of Serigne Béthio. So I think it is enough for me today, and I wish a long and healthy life to Sohna Aida Saleh Thioune and her daughters, Lieutenant Sohna Badour and Sohna Adja Saleh Thioune.